Hello, very warm and enlightening afternoon to all of you. Dear friends, today I, Kunal Nagpal, am feeling immensely humbled to welcome you all to this great economic forum. And today we are basically going to analyze certain factors, certain parameters which are of vital importance and how are they undergoing the changes, how they are expected to undergo certain changes for the current year, that is 2023, and for the upcoming year 2024. It is extremely volatile and challenging global economic scenario. So this will tell us basically what all modifications we require, hence helping us to prepare accordingly for the upcoming times. So today we are basically going to discuss certain economic parameters like the trend of the fiscal deficit for the year 2024, and it is predicted to be at 5.9% of the GDP as per the Goldman Sachs prediction. The reports have said that some of the measures to watch out for in the budget include the details on the incentives for Make in India roadmap on direct tax code implementation. So, along with that, we are also going to discuss certain insights shared by our respected Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji. And he said yesterday, that is on 11th January, that a decision has been taken to establish 3 new national level multi-state cooperative societies in order to promote the organic products, seeds and exports. So the central nod has been given to 3 new cooperative societies. And along with that, we are also going to discuss and go through the Goldman Sachs predictions regarding the crude oil prices on full China reopening. That is, what all modifications are actually being planned because of the changes in the crude oil prices as a result of the full China reopening. By the third quarter of this year, the Goldman Sachs predicts the oil to be actually $110 per barrel. That is, a barrel of Brent oil could reach $110 by the third quarter if China and other Asian economies fully reopen from coronavirus restrictions, Ms. Curie said. The futures are trading above $82 a barrel on Wednesday, that is on 11th January 2023. Along with that, we are also going to discuss the layoff trends, that is the Amazon plan to shut 3 UK warehouses which will impact 1,200. So this is a very important news for the international economics. Amazon basically plans to shut 3 warehouses in Britain in a move that will impact 1,200 jobs, but the workers will be given the chance to transfer to other units. The online retail giant said on Tuesday, that is on 10th January 2023. Moreover, the Goldman Sachs is predicted to cut about 3,200 jobs this week. The Goldman Sachs Group is embarking on one of its biggest rounds of job cuts ever, as it locks in on a plan to eliminate 3,200 positions this week, with the bank's leadership going deeper than the rivals to shed the jobs. So this is the basic overview of today's discussion. So let's begin. The financial year 2024 fiscal deficit may be at 5.9% of the gross domestic product as per the Goldman Sachs prediction. India could actually target a fiscal deficit of 5.9% of the GDP in the financial year 2024. Goldman Sachs said in a report, adding that it does not expect any significant reforms announced in the upcoming budget on February 1. We expect the government to basically consolidate the fiscal deficit to 5.9% of the gross domestic product in the financial year 2024, fully funded by a reduction in the subsidy spending while maintaining the capex and other current spending, said Goldman Sachs, which expects the government to meet the financial year 2023 fiscal deficit target of 6.4% of the GDP only after some spending cuts, given the incremental subsidy spending in the fiscal year following the commodity shock. The reports said some of the measures to watch out for in the budget include the details on incentives for the Make in India roadmap on the direct tax code implementation. Next, going forward, we are basically going to discuss the central government's decision to give a nod to 3 new cooperative societies. The center on 11th January, that is yesterday, basically decided to establish 3 new national level multi-state cooperative societies to promote the organic products, seeds and exports. The National Level Cooperative Organic Society, Cooperative Seed Society and Cooperative Export Society will be registered under the Multi-State Cooperative Societies Act, that is MSCS Act 2002. A decision in this regard was actually taken in the meeting of the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs, headed by the Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji. The cooperative sector plays a pivotal role in creating a stronger economy and hence furthering rural development. So in this context, the Cabinet has taken a crucial decision which will further our vision of Sahakar Se Samriddhi, Modi ji said in a tweet. So this is really a beautiful development. Now, dear guys, going forward, let's discuss another important aspect of the day. That is Goldman Sachs sees $110 oil by the third quarter of this year on full China reopening. So this is the upcoming challenge for the Asian economies. The commodity prices and especially the crude oil will hinge on China's reopening after the Lunar New Year celebrations later this month, according to the Goldman Sachs Group Inc. What is the best reopening play? It is oil. Jeff Currie, the bank's global head of commodities research, said in a Bloomberg television interview on Wednesday, that's on 11th January 2023. So, what is idled? Planes, trains and automobiles. You turn them all back on. That's going to be a big pop in oil demand. A barrel of Brent oil could reach $110 by the third quarter of this year if China and other Asian economies fully reopen from the coronavirus restrictions. Currie said, futures are also trading above $82 a barrel on 11th January. Copper, which this week rose above $9,000 a ton for the first time since June 2022, is actually likely to top $11,500 a ton by the end of 2023. Currie added, in the long run, copper could reach $15,000 a ton in line with Trafigura Group's projections. So this is really the upcoming challenge of the rising crude oil prices because of the reopening of the Asian economies from the COVID pandemic. Now we are going to discuss the layoff trends across the globe. So first trend is by the Amazon, which actually plans to shut 3 UK warehouses, which will actually impact 1,200. Amazon plans to shut 3 warehouses in Britain in a move that will impact 1,200 jobs, but the workers will be given the chance to transfer to other units. The online retail giant said on Tuesday, that's on 10th January 2023. The company said it opened a consultation to close 3 older British warehouses this year in Hemel Hampstead, Doncaster and Gourock, sites employing 1,200 people in one of Amazon's biggest markets outside the United States. Those employees will actually be given the chance to move the jobs internally, said Amazon, with those from the first 2 sites moving to other warehouses nearby. Amazon says it operates 30 large warehouses across the United Kingdom. Amazon said it actually planned to open the 2 new warehouses in central and northeast England over the next 3 years, a move it said will create 2,500 new jobs. The Seattle-based online retailing giant said earlier in January that it wants to shed 18,000 roles globally, bracing for slower growth as the consumers and businesses cut spending as a result of high inflation. The planned closing of the British warehouses are actually not part of the wider restructuring, which aims to mainly cover the non-warehouse roles in e-commerce and human resources. Separately, Amazon's UK business has also faced the demands for better pay from its warehouse staff, about 300 of whom plan to go on strike on January 25. Now we are going to discuss the layoff trend being experienced by the Goldman Sachs, which is expected to cut about 3,200 jobs this week. The Goldman Sachs Group Inc. is embarking on one of its biggest rounds of job cuts ever, as it locks in on a plan to eliminate about 3,200 positions this week, with the bank's leadership going deeper than the rivals to shed jobs. The firm is actually expected to start the process midweek, and the total number of people affected won't exceed 3,200, according to a person with knowledge of the matter. More than a third of those will likely be from within its core trading and banking units, indicating the broad nature of the reductions. The bank is also poised to unveil the financials tied to a new unit that houses its credit card and installment lending business, which will record more than $2 billion in pre-tax losses, the people said, asking not to be identified, discussing the private information. A spokesperson for the New York-based company declined to comment on this matter. The cuts in its investment bank are actually elevated by the inclusion of the non-front office roles that were added to the divisional headcount in the recent years. The bank still has plans to continue hiring, including inducting the regular analyst class later this year. Under the Chief Executive Officer, Mr. David Solomon, the headcount has jumped 34% since the end of 2018, climbing to more than 49,000 as of September 30, the data show. The scale of firings this year is also affected by the firm's decision to mostly set aside its annual cut of underperformers during the pandemic. The slowdowns in various business lines, an expensive consumer banking foray, and an uncertain outlook for the markets and the economy are actually prompting the bank to batten down the costs. The merger activity and fees from raising money for for the companies have taken a hit across the Wall Street, and a slump in the asset prices has eliminated another source of big gains for the Goldman Sachs from just a year ago. Those broader industry trends have been compounded by the bank's mistakes in its retail banking foray, where the losses piled up at a much faster rate than the forecast through the year. That's left the company facing a 46% drop in profits on about $48 billion of revenue, according to the analyst estimates. Still, that revenue mark has been buoyed by the trading business, which will post another jump this year, helping the firm-wide figure notch its second best performance on record. The trading division is actually expected to post a 14% jump in the revenue for 2022, bring in more than half the firm's total. The banking fees are actually expected to be down more than 50%. The final job reductions figure is significantly lower than earlier proposals in the management ranks that could have eliminated nearly 4,000 jobs. The last major exercise of this scale came after the collapse of the Lehman Brothers in 2008. Goldman Sachs had embarked on a plan to cut more than 3,000 jobs, or nearly 10% of its workforce at a time, and top executives elected to forgo their bonuses. So, there is an aspect of sharing the pain. The latest reductions represent an acknowledgement that even the businesses that outperformed this year will have to take the pain as well for a firm-wide performance that's actually going to miss the targets set for the shareholders in a year of expense bleed. That miss was particularly evident in a new unit called Platform Solutions, whose numbers stand out in the divisional breakdown. The more than $2 billion hit there is actually magnified by lending loss provisions exacerbated by new accounting rules that actually force the firm to set aside more money as the loan volumes grow, as well as the ballooning expenses. There are a variety of factors impacting the business landscape, including the tightening monetary conditions that are slowing down the economic activity. Solomon told the staff at the year end, for our leadership team, we actually focused on preparing the firm to weather these headwinds. Goldman Sachs reports its fourth quarter results on January 17. The cuts also come a week before the bank's traditional year-end compensation discussions. Even for those who remain at the firm, the compensation figures are actually expected to tumble, especially within investment banking domain. It's a stark contrast from last year, when staffers were getting showered with big bonus increases and a select few were even granted special payouts. At the time, Solomon's $35 million compensation for 2021 put him alongside Morgan Stanley's James Gorman as the highest paid CEO for a major US bank. So, dear friends, this is an extremely insightful session wherein we have analyzed various parameters for the Indian economy and for the global economy functioning across the very challenging and the sensitive global economic scenario as a whole. So, we have discussed the major opportunities which lie ahead for India and some aspects in which the Indian economy can excel. Moreover, we have also discussed the insights by the eminent leaders who basically predict the increasing layoff trends in the upcoming times. So I really hope you have found this session extremely useful to enhance your overall knowledge for the current affairs and actually helping your analytical skills to undergo a massive modification in terms of the knowledge where the global economy is actually heading and advancing. And I really wish to reiterate that you please keep taking the notes when you listen to these sessions, because these notes would be of extreme relevance to you, because I shortlist the topics which are of core importance to enhance the overall understanding of the current economic situation. So this will help you to cultivate the wisdom in terms of the overall grooming of your knowledge skills. So I would also be grateful if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, so that you keep getting notified about the economic trends, the latest economic news, and their core interpretation after thorough analysis through intensive research. Thank you so much, dear guys. It's always a pleasure to basically conduct these knowledgeable sessions. Thank you so much. Namaskar. Jai Hind.